Auf zum nächsten Mal. So. Was war denn da rein? Eine Giftkammer offensichtlich. As Jumpy walked to the room, a blast of cold air washed over him. Almost instinctively, he folded his arms tight across his chest, doing what he could to conserve body heat. Brrr, it's cold in here. What is this place? Are you blind? It's a freezer. Santas teeth already begun to chatter. Okay, Santa und ich würde sagen Lotus haben hier die größte Arschkarte gezogen mit ihren komischen Outfits. The freezer was far too cold for someone. Lotus, however, was an even worse situation. Tja, dann zieh dir ein bisschen was an, Mrs. Lotus. Das hilft vielleicht. Niemand will deine ganz nackte Haut sehen. It's way too cold for me. I freeze solid in seconds. Sorry, but I'm afraid I have to pass this one. I'm going to leave the rest to you. And with that, she went out of the room. As Lotus left, June came in. Wow, it's really cold in here. Ich verkneife mir jeden fertigen Spruch über Lotus, über June und Jumpy. White puffs of steam hovered in front of their face as they talked. June had already started to shiver. Hey, you don't need to be in here. You had a fever just a little bit ago. You should stay outside, we've got this.
No, I'm fine. My fever's gone now.
But June had scarcely opened his mouth when the sonorous sound of metal upon metal rang out behind them. In unison, they spun around to find the door that had only recently come through was closed. Scheiße, wir sind gefangen. Jumpy rushed to the door. Okay, ich nehme an, ich muss irgendwas machen, damit das wohl wieder auftaucht. It was cold beyond cold, mercy searching it was pain. The doorknob had been frozen solid. They quickly deducted that the pipe next to the door had repopulated the water released by the was ist Englisch? They quickly Alter, ich kann nicht richtig sprechen. They quickly deducted that the pipe next to the door had ruptured. Water released by the rupture had hit the door and frozen instantly. Meine Fresse. Santa shoved Jumpy aside and pounded against the door. Santa, du kannst ja nicht einschlagen, vergiss es. Hey Lotus! You're out there, right? Open the door! She wasted no time in responding.
What do you want? What's going on?
The door won't open! Try opening it from that side! Please!
Oh, fine.
If you say so.
Hold on.
Soon they could hear Lotus on the other side of the door. Then the grunting ceased and they could hear light panting as if from extension.
It's no use. I won't budge. You've got people in here. You figured it out.
God damn it. Santa was shaking like a newborn deer. June was hugging herself and she was shivering violently. Even Jumpy, with the heaviest clothes of any of them, was clearly feeling the cold. With every breath they took, they could feel the cold working its way in deeper and deeper into their clothes. Anyway, let's find the way out. If we don't get moving, we are gonna be permanent residents.
Did you hear that better than one? I'm sure we'll find something out.
Yeah, you're right. Let's just take a look around this room, okay? Right. They pushed them close to one another and began to search. Yay, ich darf wieder was machen. Kann ich was mitnehmen davon? Dry ice. Jumpy picked up the dry ice with his sleeves so as to avoid burning himself. Dry ice is just frozen carbonate, isn't it, right? Yeah, it is. I wonder how warm it has to go for the turn back to gas again. Hell if I know. How is that gonna help us anyway? Oh well, I figured we might be able to use it to get out of here. They were about to move when June spoke up. Carbon dioxide sublimation point is 109 degrees. Any warmer than that ach verdammt, ist ja gar nicht so schlimm, ich gerade.
Any warmer than that and it'll turn into gas. And then it becomes a solid.
Jumpy looked at her dumbfounded. How do you know that?
Tee. Despite my looks, I'm the queen of random knowledge.
Looks bad to melt up when you were showing off. Hagelmouth. Was?
Hagelmouth, mumble mumble.
Oh, you are so cold. Your mouth going numb?
Yep.
Das macht Spaß.
Yep. What was...
You are just doing that on purpose, aren't you? June giggled and did her best to hide her good. At least she was still feeling good enough to joke around, Jumpy told himself. Come on, guys, don't you think that's kinda weird? I wonder why it doesn't turn into a liquid first. Santa was now shivering at an astounding rate, but his curiosity seemed unaffected. Jumpy, however, was not in the mood to discuss science. It did strike Jumpy as well as he wanted out the freezer now. Ich nehme das erste. His patience was wearing thin. How the hell would I know? And how the hell is that gonna help us out of here? We don't have time for this crap.
Actually,
Jumpy stopped mid-sentence, surprised by June's interjection.
under enough pressure, carbon dioxide will turn into a liquid. This isn't really a good time for a chat about...
Achso, this isn't really good time to chat about science.
But I was wondering the same thing.
Wondering what?
Wondering why carbon dioxide doesn't turn into a liquid unless it's under pressure.
Right. It just seems weird. Water is a liquid between 32 degrees and 212 degrees. So why isn't that the case for carbon dioxide? H2O and CO2 are pretty cellular. No, they are not. They're totally different. Look guys, if we keep this, we are just gonna freeze to death. You're good for that? You wanna die talking about subdivision and gases? Cause I sure as hell don't. He fixed both of them with a glare. Now let's get back to work, assuming you don't want to end up like a pair of ice sculptures. Jumpy turned around, the problem dealt with. Or so he thought. There's a kind of ice that doesn't turn into a liquid when it goes...
There's a kind of ice that doesn't turn into liquid when it goes above 32 degrees. I heard about that. Its melting point is 96 degrees.
Its melting point is 96 degrees? You mean there's water that freezes at 96 degrees?
Yep. Well, you could also look at it as ice that won't melt until it's 96 degrees.
Water freezes at 96 degrees? Ice that won't melt until 96 degrees? Das ist wirklich interessant, muss ich sagen. Now that was difficult to ignore. Jumpy had to ask. So what's this ice with a melting point of 96 degrees called?
I heard it's called Ice 9.
Ice 9?
Originally, Ice 9 was made of substances invented by a science fiction author. But recently scientists have discovered that such a substance actually exists.
Wait. Hold up. So is this thing called Ice 9 or is it water?
Like I said, if the ice is over 69 and 96 degrees, it'll be liquid. If it's under that, it's solidify. So you could think of it as a polymorph of H2O. Hey, think of it like diamond and graphite. They're both made of carbon, right? But depending on the structure of the crystallization, the hardness and structure are completely different. So you're saying normally water, this Ice 9 are kind like... Yep. Sekunde mal kurz, ich sehe gerade was. Ich muss jetzt was nachgucken bei mir. Habe ich wieder runtergestellt den Emulator oder warum ist der allgemein so leise? Tatsache, war runtergestellt. Ich hoffe mal, hört mich jetzt noch. She wasn't finished. Have you heard the story about the crystallization of glycerine? For 150 years after the discovery of glycerine, people cooled it, warmed it, and did all sorts of things to it. Whatever they did, it never crystallized. However, one day in 1920, some glycerine that was en route to England by ship was discovered to have crystallized during the trip. Naturally, scientists worldwide wanted to research this new crystallized form of glycerine and began asking for samples of the seed. A seed is of course a sample of the original crystallized substance. With a seed crystal, further crystallizations of glycerine would be a simple matter. However, something very strange happened. Not only did the glycerine encouraged by seed crystals begin to crystallize, nearby samples did as well. It didn't end there. After that day, all glycerine in the world began to crystallize naturally when coated to less than ouch.
to less than 64 degrees. Ich habe mir gerade anders hingesetzt kurzzeitig, deswegen auch ouch. Ich habe nämlich mein Bein würdevollerweise gegen den Tisch geschlagen. Before the day, no matter how glycerin was cooled, refused to crystallize, but once the crystallization had begun,
it was almost like, how do I put it? It was almost like all the glycerine in the water was communicating in some way that we can't sense.
Jumpy. Also ich würde es ein bisschen arschlochmäßig finden, wenn ich jetzt sagen würde, ich bin davon, wenn sie uns hier also schnell erklären, sagen würde, ja, ich bin vollkommen genervt davon. Deswegen bin ich davon auf jeden Fall sehr beeindruckt. Was honestly impressed. It was in fact a pretty interesting story.
Wow.
That's pretty interesting. But, what does this have to do with Ice 9? To his surprise, it was Santa and not June who answered. What she's saying is that it's a lot like Ice 9. What happened, I mean. A lot like? That would be below. If water everywhere started freezing at 96 degrees, man, it'd be the end of the world. Jumpy felt that Santa might not be treating the idea of the end of the world with a proper concern. At any rate, we are not gonna have to worry about the end of the world unless we can get out of here pretty damn quick. He was right. Jumpy shivered. Alright guys, I think that's enough of that. I didn't think we'd quite this far off topic. I mean, I know I'm kinda at fault here, but we can't be screwing around anymore. Seriously. I might go by the name Santa right now, but I didn't grow up in Iceland. I freaking hate the cold. So let's get cracking, alright? We gotta find a way out of here. Santa stomped off, clearly doing his best to pretend the cold wasn't affected him. Selfish, isn't he? Thought Jumpy to himself. Still, Santa was right, and it was high time to get back to their search. Story after Iceland had him interested, but there'd be time to think about that once they got out of the freezer. Jumpy looked at June, nodded, and resumed his search of the room. Ah gut. Der Pfeil zwischen nichts überdenken, aber scheiß drauf. There's some frozen meat up there. Looks like pork. Huh? What's this? It looks like a tech or something. Oh, okay. Ich nehme an, dass wir wahrscheinlich irgendwie jetzt Wärme erzeugen müssen. Was muss das vielleicht? Nein. Lecker. Erstmal hier schön das Essen rausholen. Mehr ist hier aber auch nicht. Gut. Da, was haben wir jetzt hier Schönes? Hier oben ist was. Everything's frozen in here.
It doesn't look like there's anything else interesting.
Ooh. Study rope.
There's so much stuff in here. Why don't we take some of it, Jumpy?
Storage area built into the floor like a small cellar. There's couple bottles in here. Eine Wasserflasche? Okay. Ich nehme, wir das kombinieren mit irgendwas davon. Wohin wäre das ein bisschen interessanter? So, haben wir noch was unter eine der Sachen? Nein, hier ist nichts. Zur Auswahl. Wir haben jetzt eine Wasserflasche. Da ein Chunk of Pork. Frozen Chicken and Dry Ice. Und noch eine Study Rope. Und ich würde mal sagen, das Geheimnis dieses Kühlhauses erfahren wir im nächsten Part von 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. Bis zum nächsten Mal.